Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. In today's video, I'm going to be talking with John, an investor who closed on a deal in 2021 when prices are too high for anybody to make a profit, and the extension of the eviction moratorium has people in panic mode like the sky is falling, which actually didn't happen. The eviction moratorium didn't get extended. I'll be making a video to try to get other YouTube creators to STFU about the eviction moratorium being extended because it wasn't. And so the goal of this video is to bring on an investor who's currently buying properties and walk through the steps of how this purchase went. So, John, if you could take just a few minutes and tell me a little bit about the size of your current portfolio and then what type of property it is that we're going to be talking about today.
Howdy. Thank you for inviting me to your Dion Talk. So I have two single family homes. That's my portfolio. I'm just a landlord, a small mom and pop landlord of two. Property that we're going to talk about today is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,050 square foot home that I found in the Memphis metro area.
Okay. And I love how you said, I have two, like you're just starting out. Yeah. Like something like 99% of people never own one rental. So Getting to two is a huge accomplishment. Congratulations on that. And so this is a single family house. That's kind of cool in my area. I haven't been able to find those to cash flow. Yeah. So how did you find this property? Was it MLS, through off market, word of mouth?
You know, in the middle of the pandemic or this spring, I started to watch financial YouTube videos, started to watch your channels, started to watch BiggerPockets, got introduced to Michael Zuber with One Rental at a Time. And I watched, everybody talks about the BiggerPockets 300 episode. So I also, right around the time your episode came out, watched that episode and really kind of married my strategy of a mixture between Michael Zuber, Tim, and Crystal Shiner. Their book is My Wife Loves / Hates Rental Properties. They buy purely for appreciation. I don't buy purely for appreciation. I lean more towards buy and hold than cash flow. But I started studying Michael Zuber's One Rental at a Time. I started searching daily in the MLS in the Memphis area. I was shopping during the heyday of the March and April housing shortage that we had. The Investor Mania report had just come out, and I was just trying to, my goal through February, March, and April was just get to 50 properties on my spreadsheet, right? Just find 50 properties. And what I found was that I had to expand my search. There were so few homes that I went from 1 zip code to about 7 zip codes just trying to make that happen. So I was searching for 3-bed, 2-bath homes, you know, B and A class properties with good school districts, or like you've mentioned in your videos, good and large employment opportunities near them, or large demographics that are going to help, you know, the rental base. My buy box has put myself squarely in the same buy box as a lot of families in the area, as well as we actually have at least 2 hedge funds buying right out of the MLS. I decided to do a cash out refinance of my first home so that I would have a down payment to start to make offers. So mainly I found the deal just hunting daily in the MLS.
Okay. And so are you an agent? Do you have access to the MLS, or do you have a...
No, I'm not an agent. So I would just search daily on realtor.com. And then I would do Zillow for rental information. So I'd use a combination of the 2 sites. I do have an agent that helped me buy my family home here in Memphis, Tennessee. So I used them once I had the approval letter and enough funding that I knew could cover the down payment. Then I said, okay, it's in the shop. And I started to send them. These are the homes that catch my eye. At the time, the timing was, you know, usually at night, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., I would search the MLS. They did set up an auto search for me as well. But I would search the MLS. I would ask them if there was a showing, if I found a home I wanted to see for the next day, knowing that by 5 p.m., you know, 2 days later, there'd be a multiple offers, right?
So you live in Memphis, and yes. Where's this rental located?
So the rental we're delving into is in a suburb called Collierville.
Okay, so you narrowed down your search to the type of property you want.
Yep.
and you narrowed down the location, and you had to expand the location because there was such a lack of inventory. And you are right. You're in the hardest asset class because your competition, the hedge funds are a problem, but in hedge fund investing owns less than 1% of the total number of rentals on the market. There's 48 million rentals in the United States. About, I think it's 300,000 are owned by hedge funds. One hedge fund owns 80,000, so that's the largest one. So they are a competition, and they tend to buy newer properties with built in the last couple of years.
Right.
But the average home buyer with VA loan, 3.5% down conventional loan, 3% down first-time home buyer loan, first-time home buyer assistance programs, that's the competition that it's really hard to beat, because home buyers buy on payment. What will my payment be? That's how much house I can purchase. Investors buy on return. To get to the return, how did you fund this deal?
So my funding is actually really unique, right? And I've always had a dream to be a partner with my father on a real estate rental house. He owns 5 free and clear. He's like your brother. He prefers free and clear purchases. By the time when I found this one house in Collierville and I emailed it to him, most of the time I would just get yeah, that's not bad, or wow, that price is high, or I can't believe they're selling that fast. But when I emailed him that one, he said, I want in. And so I actually, so for the first time, like experienced, even though it was my father and my family, experienced, what it is to invest with a partner and what it is like to try to attempt to raise capital that you didn't have. Right.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful that you can invest with your father, and those kind of partnerships are really cool. I partnered with one of my brothers, my brother that owns rental properties, right after getting out of the Marine Corps for a brief period of time with a logging company. And I don't have the ability to partner with family because one of us was going to die.
Well, we learned a lot.
So I may partner with my brother again in the future, but not today.
Yeah, but not today.
So congratulations on being able to do this with your dad, though. Tell me how that worked.
First thing I tried to do was Michael Zuber's 6 and 20 note to see if he was interested in that. But he was not. He wanted to go in 50-50 on the house. 2
things really quick with Michael Zuber, just in case people aren't familiar.
Yeah.
Michael Zuber's course talks about doing the work every day. Some people will set aside a Saturday and try to work for 8 hours. And that really means that you're going to miss all of the deals that came out on Tuesday and were under contract by Wednesday. And in an 8-hour period on a Saturday, you're probably going to get 2 hours of actual productive time. But if you search every day like you did at 7 or 8 at night, and you put in 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, you're actually going to be able to find properties. And can you explain the deal structure that you said Michael Zuber's preferred method, just in case somebody hasn't heard that before?
Michael Zuber of One Rental at a Time, he's created a document that gives essentially a second position on the loan for 20% of the equity of the house. You have a 6% interest rate, right? And so he was able to scale. Part of the scaling was being able to find successful properties and have private lenders, family and friends and others that wanted to come in and invest with them for that 6% return. But Michael is the owner of the home, right? I believe that if he'd never paid them, then they could foreclose for 20% of the home. My understanding is he's been very successful using the program.
Okay.
So just like you and your brother you mentioned about the family struggles, that was one of the first things we learned, right? My father I'm very fortunate. My father's still with us, but he's 72. And he is at a place in his life where he wants to buy a house 100% free and clear and just get the higher cash flow in. I, of course, want to get that cheap 30-year money. The first thing we did was have real struggles about that. He did not want to share personal information with my mortgage broker. And so we got all the way up to the 2 days before we were supposed to close. I had about 48 hours to convince my father to finish his mortgage application so that we could close. And so in hindsight, if I had just come up with a different agreement where I was 100% the owner, but had funding and obligations to pay that funding, I would not have had that stress, right? Diving into the numbers a little bit, the property that we found was listed at $179,000. This was at the heyday of the investor mania that we've had over the last quarter. I knew that we were going to be competing with a lot of people for the home. I also knew, because I was doing the work daily, that I felt like it was underpriced. So I felt like going over was actually not going to be too bad.
A lot of people don't realize that the listed price is a number that matters to the seller.
Right.
And as an investor, what matters is, what can I pay for this property based on what I'm going to get back on how much I spent, that right. yield or return.
Right.
I could do over asking, I could do under asking. That list number only matters to the seller.
Right. We offered 205, which is 25 over, which is, most of the time when you hear that, investors go, what are you doing? Why would you do 25 over listing price? That still produced in the 10 to 12% yield.
Okay. Yeah. So you got the return that you're looking for.
So that was the original return. I actually blew that return out of the water. Now I will get to that in a second here. So we offered 205. We actually got told that a hedge fund offered 220, which was 45 over the listing, but also had an appraisal contingency. And so because the number mattered to the owner, right, and the seller, like you talked about earlier, she thought our deal was more sound because she thought it was just big sticker price and the appraisal was going to come in closer to what she had in her head. I actually ended up with the deal and it appraised at 205.5. So it was like dead on for our dart throw, which we thought was swinging for the fences, bet 25 over, but was dead on to what the appraisal was.
That's beautiful. A lot of people think the highest offer gets accepted. People think they can put themselves in the mind of the seller, and you can't. Yeah. I've had an offer accepted against an all cash competing offer at the same value. And they accepted my offer because I did a bigger earnest money, which meant if I backed out, that person thought they were going to make a bunch of money. I still had an inspection clause. I still had an appraisal clause, but the number for the earnest money was larger. So a financed purchase for the same amount of an all cash purchase, they went with my offer. Don't overthink what you think the seller is going to do. Make your offer and move on to the next one. Make your offer, move on to the next one, make your offer, and go for the one that gets accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. So we at 205, we each owe 102.5 essentially on the house. And we decided to go in at 100,000 down. So I put in 25,000 down. He put in 75,000 down. And so he made an agreement with me that his initial down payment would not affect the ratio of our cash flow. And so he drove my yield up dramatically, right? At least for the next 13 years, unless he prepays more mortgage for the next 13 years. What I thought was going to be a 9% yield is going to be a 34% yield just on my money. And that's because of the advantage of having a partner that put in such a high down payment to drive cash flow, reducing the 50%, my half of the 50% of CapEx and vacancy and maintenance, because I expect my partner to pay for half of it as well.
There are a lot of people like me who haven't partnered with somebody.
Yeah.
And it could be, we want full ownership. And it makes me wonder how many deals I've missed out on 50% of a great deal to own 0% of no deals.
Right.
So again, good job on the partnership.
It was an odd way to stumble into it. My intention was just to follow the dream and be a partner with my dad. But his agreements on how the cash flow would go would really come out great. So one of the reasons I reached out to you is because there was recently some questions. I think you actually did a video on how the income snowball works. I think that just kind of going through the numbers over the last 7 months and looking back, my snowball increased 5 times from what it was in February. And I just love to give that overview to your audience. So in February, I had one single family home rented for $1,500. And after mortgage payment and maintenance and vacancy reserves, I was cash flowing net $175 a month. Now with the 2 properties, I did a cash out refi on the house, but despite doing a cash out refi, my first single family home was actually my starter home. It was where my family lived for 14 years before we moved out. So we had plenty of principal pay down. Now the passive income is 3,300 a month gross. I pay debt service of 1675, leaving 1625. I pay my father 475.50 for his half of the cash flow for the property that we just talked about, and then I start my 15% from there. And so my net passive income went from 175 a month to $977 a month
with 2 rentals.
With 2 rentals.
Right. The thing I really like is, and one of the reasons I'm glad you reached out, I like to find investors who are doing something similar to what I did. Financial freedom for me happened with 7 units. When I watch, and I like it, when I watch the Grant Cardone episode where he's on BiggerPockets twice, and he says, I have 8,000 units to have the lifestyle that he has. Well, I don't have his lifestyle, but I had
Right.
the ability to make work optional with very few actual rental units. And the other power of the income snowball that you're having is there is cash flow and there is principal pay down. And we don't count on it, but there is appreciation. And most markets over the last 12 months have seen 15 or 24% appreciation. Without doing anything, my net worth changed positively by about $600,000 just based on appreciation, which wouldn't have happened had I purchased properties in all cash. It only happened because I was using leverage. And I do believe in using leverage smartly and, maintaining an equity position and putting down payments and not, financing 100% of the deal. But like you, the power of leverage has had a huge impact on the portfolio.
Yeah.
What did you learn out of this specific deal that will make it easier for the next deal?
The fact that I've done it once makes me know that I can do it again. Right. And I don't know if I'll actively pursue it every time, but if there's a deal that I just don't have the funding for that is amazing and I need to go take a swing for it, I know that I need to, spend some time to try to develop that network and develop potential partners. So I'm working on that. But if another person wants to come in and drop, 50% of the house and drive my yield up to 33% from 9, I will absolutely take that deal again. Right?
Well, and the partnership got the momentum going for you in this deal. Well, John, I really want to say thanks for taking the time to share this story. I'm hoping that people watching can get motivated. And please don't take this wrong. Other than your awesome haircut, I think we are average guys pulling off financial freedom by investing in buy and hold real estate. And you're well on your path to doing that. If somebody wants to reach out because they have a question, what's the easiest way to get a hold of you?
Yes. My email address is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. It's jwillams77@gmail.com. JWILLAMS.
Again, thanks a lot. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is...
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
I'll own the home, right? And so that getting through that was...
Hello, random stranger in the background. Nice to meet you.
So
awesome.
All right.
Perfect.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dion.
So
thank you.
That was great. Man, that's a great story.
Thank you.
Great return. How partnerships work. I mean, there's a ton of stuff in there for people.
Yeah, excellent. So completely I'm digressing for just a second. And this is completely out of left field, but you have fandom that very much overlaps with what my family does. We play D&D. We love Supernatural.
So have you shown this to anybody in your family?
Oh no, I haven't. Oh,
it's literally.
Can I call the stranger that just
sure?
Oh no, he's got the Mark of Cain. He's got Dean's. Oh, my wife loves it.
And I have an angel blade on my desk. I've used that in a few videos. I pull it up.
Yeah. So he's got an angel blade on his desk as well. He's used it in a couple of his videos. So anyway, I was going to tell you, just because we're big fans, because you're a big fan of fandoms, there's a podcast that she does that's called Danger Dames. Just check it out if you want to look at it. Yeah, thank you so much, man. I've really enjoyed, going back to real estate. I love your content. It was watching your video on BiggerPockets that was like, okay, I'm going to go after something.
That was
Right,
the whole
because-
reason why I tried to get on that show. I was like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a bazillionaire. You don't have to be
Right.
super smart. Not that you're not super smart, but
Yeah.
I'm not. And
Yeah.
you can just do this and save up for the next one, find the next partner, however it works. That is really awesome. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. That's my goal, is 10 minutes or so of here's a couple things that can keep you motivated to find the next deal or to
Right.
think of something newer. You know, the reason I do things like the income snowball or how debt can make you financially free.
Right.
And I do the things like the time travel stuff just to make somebody laugh for a few minutes, but that's valuable information that I wish I had 10 years ago.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.